Once upon a time, in the village of Ababa, there lived an orphan girl who lost both parents at a very young age. This made the villagers call her a witch, that she was responsible for killing her parents, and even her relatives want to have nothing to do with her. So the Igwe took her to come work in the palace farm and kitchen at the early age of 14. Even after everything that happened to her, she never let it weigh her down. Onekego has such a happy spirit. She would often smile at anyone she comes in contact with and will always try to be friendly with people around her. Onekego was so beautiful that most men desired her for a wife, but the rumors surrounding her drove them away. But this did not stop them from admiring her from afar. Whenever she goes on errands, men would often stand to look at her and admire her beauty because she was easily the most beautiful girl in the village. She also has a very beautiful voice and knows how to cook delicious foods as well. Onekego settled into her normal routine in the palace with her work, and soon she turned 20. Adaisy, the king's daughter, is of the same age as Onekego. She was beautiful, tall, and with a good physique, but she was so proud and rude to people of the lower class. She would often demand for unnecessary things and give punishment for little faults. As early as 18, suitors were already coming for her hand in marriage, but she will always turn them down because she feels like she hasn't seen someone befitting of her beauty and her status as princess. And this made her stay up until 22 and still not yet married. Obiora is the prince to the most strongest kingdom in the east and is one of the most eligible bachelors of that time, and he was now ready to marry a wife and make a family for himself. One day, he visited the king of Ababa to seek for the permission to get to know his daughter, Adaisy, to see if they could be a perfect match for each other. On his arrival, the king organized a banquet to entertain him. Immediately Adaisy saw Prince Obiora. She was so attracted to him and wanted him for herself. So once the prince was seated, the princess then ordered the maids to serve the food. Onekego was among the maidens to serve the food. Normally, she would only work in the farm and kitchen, but is not allowed to serve food or show her face to guests. But because other maidens were busy with other things, she had to serve the food with two other maids. While the food is being served, Onekego took a glance at the handsome prince and caught him already looking at her. Immediately, her heart skipped a beat and she blushed, but for fear of being caught or punished, she looked away immediately. But because Princess Adaisy's attention was solely on the prince, she noticed what has happened and how the prince kept on looking at Onekego until she left after serving the food. Soon they finished eating. The king urged his daughter to take the prince somewhere private for them to get to know each other. After spending some time together, the prince left, but he never stopped thinking about the beautiful girl he saw in the palace and wondered who she was. Back in the palace, the princess was so angry at the attention given to Onekego by the prince, so she went to look for her and warned her to stay away from her husband-to-be and that if she sees Onekego as much as look at the prince again, she will deal with her mercilessly. Onekego didn't want problems, so she went down on her knees and begged the princess, and even convinced her that she is just an ordinary orphan slave, and the prince would not go for someone of her status. Rather, he would prefer a beautiful princess like Princess Adaisy. Adaisy thought about this, and it made sense to her. She then dismissed Onekego. After the prince's first visit, he tries to spend some time, a few days a week, with the princess, while getting to know her. He soon found out about her pride and rude attitude, and how she would always demand respect from people older than her. After some time, the prince tried to talk to her to see if she could change this habit, because he wanted to give them a chance to have a relationship, but there was no improvement on her side. One sunny day, the prince was on his way to see Princess Adaisy when he decided to sit on a tree shade to have some alone time, when he heard a beautiful voice singing not too far from him. The voice was so soothing, and he decided to go take a look. When he got close enough, he found out that this person looks familiar. Then it clicked. She was the beautiful girl from the palace that he couldn't stop thinking about. When Onekego discovered that someone was standing beside her, she turned, and as she noticed it was Prince Obiora, she ran because she didn't want to be caught talking with the prince, so as not to incur any punishment from Princess Adaisy. This surprised the prince. He just wanted to get to know her and maybe become friends with her. So he planned to come back to that spot. Maybe he could meet her there again. He went there a few times, but she was nowhere to be found. This made him ask some villagers about her, but each person he asked did not have anything good to say about her. So he just resigned to searching for her himself. And because of this, he spent less and less time with Adaisy. And this made her suspicious, but she waved it off that maybe Obiora was busy with princely duties. Prince Obiora now spends more of his free time in Ababa due to his search for Onekego. After weeks of searching, he found her in a tattered hut in the outskirts of the village, and he went on to approach her. But when Onekego saw him, she ran, and the prince anticipated this move, followed her immediately, and caught her by the wrist to stop her from running. Prince Obiora then said to her, "I have no intention of hurting you. I just want to know you, and maybe we could be friends," and that she has nothing to worry about. She insisted on him leaving because of the princess' threat, but he refused to leave because after weeks of searching, he finally found her. Onekego and Prince Obiora started spending more time together. He would come to the hut, which Onekego explained that it belongs to her late parents. They would spend their free time together at the hut and talk about their interests, their future plans, and other things. And Onekego would often bring food that she cooked in the palace for the prince, and would also sing for him whenever he wants. With this, they grew so close that they were now having feelings for each other. This made Prince Obiora stop visiting the princess. Soon, she found out that he has been spending his time with Onekego, the maid from the palace. This made her so angry that she went to her father in tears and complained everything to him. And because her father wanted an alliance between the two kingdoms, but there was no way that was going to happen with Onekego in the picture. So they plot against her by hiding the king's favorite beads in her room and pretending to search for it the next morning. Onekego was asked if she knew who took the king's favorite bead. Onekego knew nothing of the beads, so she said no. But the princess insisted that they search her room, and when they did, they found it there. She cried that she knew nothing of how the beads got there. Some people actually believed her because she had been in the palace for years and have stolen nothing. And it's quite suspicious because only few people has access to the king's room, with Onekego excluded. But no one dare say anything or question the king or the princess. Onekego was then banished for the land as punishment for stealing and lying about it, which some think the punishment is too much for her. The king sent his guards to accompany her to the village border in the forest, where she will go and never return back to the village. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. See you in our next video, and watch out for part 2 of Onekego the Slave Girl.